The rewind game. It all started with a dusty old VHS tape. Alex, Maddie, Rachel, and Tom were all friends from high school, but they hadn't seen much of each other after graduation. One summer evening, they decided to reconnect for a weekend getaway in a rundown house in the woods. They were looking for something adventurous to do and wanted to relive their old memories of staying up late, telling stories, and playing games. The house was eerie, the air thick with nostalgia and dust. As they explored the attic, Maddie discovered a box full of old VHS tapes. They were faded and had labels written in messy handwriting. Horror, mysterious, surprise, the labels read. No one knew who had left them there, but the group was eager to pop one in the old TV and see what it was all about. "Let's watch this one," Rachel said, pulling out a tape labeled The Future. Tom chuckled. "Sounds like a horror movie." Maddie pushed the tape into the player, and they all gathered around the screen, ready for whatever was about to unfold. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. The video showed blurry images of a group of people at a party. The sound was muffled, and the camera moved erratically. Then they saw themselves. At first, the footage was fuzzy, but it quickly came into focus. The four friends were standing in the middle of a crowded room, laughing and having a good time, but they had never been to this party. They stared at the screen in shock, realizing the people on the screen looked exactly like them, but younger and with a strange emptiness in their eyes. Maddie's face was frozen in a wide, unsettling grin. Tom appeared to be arguing with someone, his voice harsh. Rachel and Alex were standing together in the corner, but there was something off about them, something they couldn't quite put their finger on. "Guys, this is freaking me out," Alex muttered. "This is us, but we've never been here. What is this?" Before anyone could respond, the screen flickered again. The images changed, and the group saw themselves standing outside in a dark alley, looking terrified. They were all running, dodging something or someone. The camera panned to show a shadowy figure chasing them, but it was too dark to make out any details. "Wait," Rachel said, voice shaky. "This isn't possible. That's us, but we haven't even been to this town before. How could this be on the tape?" The video continued, and soon it showed Alex standing alone in a parking lot. The camera zoomed in on his face, and then Alex saw it, his own eyes wide with fear as a car sped toward him. The car didn't stop, and the screen went black. The group sat in stunned silence. What just happened?" Maddie whispered. "Did we just see the future?" Tom asked, his voice barely a whisper. They all sat there, trying to comprehend what they'd just witnessed. But the tape didn't stop. It kept rewinding and playing again, this time showing a different sequence. This time, Rachel was at the same party they had seen earlier, but something was off. She was standing alone in the middle of a room, crying. Her face was twisted in despair as she looked down at her hands, which were covered in blood. "Guys, I didn't do anything," Rachel said, her voice trembling. "This can't be real." They watched in stunned silence as the tape rewound once again. Now the footage showed Maddie standing by a window looking terrified. Behind her, the door opened slowly, and a shadowy figure stepped into the room, causing Maddie to scream and run toward the camera. The tape ended abruptly. They all looked at each other, stunned and confused. The air in the room felt heavy, as if the very space around them was pressing in on them. "We need to destroy this thing," Tom said, standing up. "This is freaking me out." But no one moved. Instead, they stared at the screen. It was as if the tape was pulling them in, forcing them to watch. What if this is actually showing us what's going to happen?" Rachel said quietly. "Then we should do everything we can to stop it," Alex replied, his voice serious. "Let's try to avoid these situations." The group agreed. They didn't know what else to do, but they needed to act fast. The next morning, they went out to explore the town, trying to shake off the dread that had settled in their hearts. But everything felt off. The streets were empty, and even the sun didn't seem as bright as it should have been. As the day went on, things started to feel strangely familiar. The old house they were staying in, the alley they'd seen in the video, it all seemed like it was part of the same strange puzzle. The more they walked, the more the scenery matched the scenes from the tape. It wasn't long before they found themselves standing in front of the same party they'd seen in the video. The familiar faces were there, but there was a cold, unnerving air about the whole scene. "Let's get out of here," Maddie said, her voice shaky. "This is crazy. I don't feel safe." But they couldn't leave. It was as if something was pulling them toward the party. The moment they stepped inside, it all became real. The scene from the tape was unfolding before them. Alex was the first to see it. He was standing by the door when he spotted a car speeding toward him, just like in the video. His heart pounded in his chest as he tried to move, but his body wouldn't obey. He felt like he was stuck in a nightmare. Before he could react, Rachel screamed from the other side of the room. Alex turned to see her standing there, just as she had been in the tape, blood dripping from her hands. Maddie was staring wide-eyed at the window, her expression frozen in fear. It was all happening just like in the video. They tried to change things, tried to warn each other, but no matter what they did, it seemed to be following the exact same path as the tape had shown. And then the final twist came. As they desperately tried to escape, the footage of the tape began to play in their minds, showing their every move. But this time, it wasn't just the past or the future they were seeing, it was both. The video was showing them not just what was going to happen, but what had already happened. They had been trapped in a loop from the very beginning. The tape, it seemed, wasn't showing the future at all. It was showing them their fate, one that they had already sealed, and no matter how hard they tried to change it, the same outcome was always going to come. And in the end, the most chilling realization was this: the tape wasn't from an outside force. It was created by one of them, someone who had already seen everything happen. One of them was a future version of themselves who had been stuck in this never-ending cycle for so long that they had learned to manipulate it. The final twist? They had all been watching their own deaths, and there was no way to escape the loop.